What if the loose change in your pocket was secretly worth $1 million? Most Americans see a quarter and think 25 cents. But collectors see something very different: history, mystery, and sometimes jaw-dropping prices that can reach hundreds of thousands, even over $1 million. Across the United States, a handful of rare quarter-dollar coins have shocked the world by selling for prices that could buy a mansion, a luxury car collection, or even change someone's life forever. From centuries-old treasures struck in the early days of the nation to modern minting mistakes that slipped past the U.S. Mint, these quarters prove that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary places. Imagine discovering that a simple coin from the era of George Washington, or a rare piece like the legendary draped bust quarter, could be worth more than $1 million today. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet collectors have paid staggering amounts for the rarest examples. In this countdown, we're revealing the top 5 most valuable and rare quarter-dollar coins ever discovered. Coins so scarce and historic that they've become legends in American numismatics. Some were minted over 200 years ago. Others were mistakes never meant to exist. All of them are worth fortunes. Before you spend your next quarter, you might want to take a closer look, because one tiny coin could be hiding a life-changing surprise. Coin number 1. We are diving into a coin that almost everyone has touched, ignored, and spent without a second thought: the 1997 United States of America quarter dollar. And here is the crazy part. One small detail on this ordinary-looking coin has made certain examples sell for jaw-dropping prices, even reaching into the millions in rare error cases. Yes, millions for a coin people use for parking meters and vending machines. So before you spend another quarter, you need to see this. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you exactly what makes the 1997 quarter special, where to look on the coin, which rare errors collectors fight over, and why some of these quarters have shocked auction rooms with prices that most people would never expect from a simple 25-cent coin. And trust me, the most valuable detail is something almost nobody checks. First, grab a 1997 quarter and look closely. On the front, you will see George Washington's profile, facing left, United States of America around the top, Liberty above, and the date 1997 at the bottom. Now look to the right of Washington's ponytail. You should see a tiny P mint mark. That P means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. And in 1997, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins, which makes you think, how could something made in such huge numbers ever be valuable? Here is where it gets interesting. While most 1997 quarters are worth exactly face value, some rare mint errors have turned this common coin into a collector's treasure. Imagine a close-up shot right now zooming in on the mint mark area and the lettering, because the first thing to watch for is a double die error. This is when parts of the design appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. Look carefully at Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see strong, clear doubling that is not just wear or machine vibration, you might be holding something special. Now let's talk about off-center strikes. Picture a B-roll shot of a quarter where the design is shifted dramatically to one side, leaving a blank crescent of metal on the opposite edge. If your 1997 quarter is struck significantly off-center and still shows the full date, collectors love that. The more dramatic the shift while keeping the date visible, the higher the value can climb. And then there are broad strikes and clipped planchets. Errors where the coin was struck outside the retaining collar or cut incorrectly before striking. These mistakes create unusual shapes or stretch designs, and serious collectors pay strong premiums for clean, dramatic examples, especially when they are certified and graded by major grading companies. Now here is the part that really shocks people. While a normal circulated 1997 quarter is worth 25 cents, and even a bright uncirculated one might bring $1 to $5. Rare high-grade examples graded mint state 67 or higher have sold for hundreds, and in some cases thousands of dollars. And when you combine a top grade with a dramatic mint error, certain rare pieces have reached astonishing auction levels that can push into six figures. And in extreme, one-of-a-kind documented error cases across modern coinage, prices have crossed into the $1 million range, which is why collectors never stop checking their change. Imagine the camera slowly zooming in on a flawless, high-grade coin under bright lighting, no scratches, sharp details in Washington's hair, crisp lettering, strong luster spinning under the light. That condition is everything. Two coins from the same year can have a difference of thousands of dollars purely based on preservation. Here is a quick reality check. Most 1997 p quarters you find in your pocket will not make you rich, but the thrill is in the hunt, because that one rare error, that one perfectly preserved example, could be hiding in a jar, a drawer, or your loose change right now. And that possibility is what keeps collectors searching. So now I want to ask you, have you ever checked the mint mark on your quarters? Do you own a 1997 p quarter? And if you found a rare error worth thousands or even millions, what would you do first? Tell me in the comments. I read them all. To wrap this up, the 1997 p United States quarter dollar may look ordinary, but with the right error, the right condition, and the right buyer at the right auction, its value can jump from 25 cents to hundreds, thousands, and in legendary cases across the coin market, even into the millions. And that is why no coin should ever be ignored. Coin number 2. We are talking about a quarter that looks completely normal, no flashy design, no special mark, nothing screaming rare, and yet some collectors have paid thousands for the right one. And here is the twist. It has no mint mark at all. And that missing detail is exactly why people get confused, excited, and sometimes shocked when they learn the truth about the 1966 quarter. Now, before you run to your coin jar, let me tell you why this year is so different, why the missing mint mark is not a mistake, but still matters. What happened at the United States Mint in the mid-1960s that changed coin history, and how certain 1966 quarters have reached values from a few dollars all the way up to tens of thousands. And in extreme rare error situations across the coin market, even stories of million-dollar level sales have circulated. So stay with me because the real value depends on details most people never check. Pick up a 1966 quarter and look closely. You will see George Washington facing left, Liberty above his head, In God We Trust to the left, and the date 1966 at the bottom. Now look to the right of Washington. You will notice something missing. There is no D, no S, no mint mark at all. And that is not an error. From 1965 to 1967, the mint removed mint marks completely to discourage coin hoarding during a national coin shortage, which means every 1966 quarter was struck without a mint mark regardless of where it was made. Now here is where it gets interesting, because even though all of them have no mint mark, not all 1966 quarters are equal. Imagine a close-up shot under bright light. Tilt the coin slowly so viewers can see the surface, because condition is everything. Most of these coins were heavily used in circulation, scratched, worn, tossed into drawers for decades. But if you find one with sharp details in Washington's hair, strong luster, and almost no marks, you might be looking at a high-grade survivor that collectors compete for. Let's talk about composition. In 1965, the United States stopped making quarters from 90% silver and switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition. So your 1966 quarter is not silver. But here is the surprise. Some rare transitional errors from that era have surfaced on wrong planchets, meaning a coin intended to be clad was accidentally struck on a silver planchet. These are extremely rare, and when authenticated, they can command massive premiums. Imagine the camera zooming in on the edge of the coin. A normal 1966 quarter will show a visible copper stripe on the edge, but a rare silver error will have a solid silver-colored edge with no copper line. That tiny detail can mean the difference between 25 cents and life-changing money. There are also double-die varieties to watch for. Check the lettering in Liberty and In God We Trust. Look for strong, clear doubling that appears part of the design, not just damage. Use a magnifying glass and steady light. Show a macro shot on screen so viewers can see what true doubling looks like. These varieties can bring strong collector interest, especially in higher grades. Now let's talk numbers. A heavily circulated 1966 quarter with no mint mark is worth face value, just 25 cents. An uncirculated example with bright original luster may sell for $5 to $15 depending on condition. But when you move into certified mint state 67 condition, auction prices have reached several $1,000s, and rare error pieces such as wrong planchet strikes have sold for tens of thousands. And in the broader world of dramatic, one-of-a-kind mint errors from this era, there have been documented sales in the hundreds of thousands and even crossing into the million-dollar range for the rarest verified pieces. which is why collectors never ignore this year. Here is what makes this coin powerful. It represents a turning point in American coinage history, the end of everyday silver, the beginning of modern clad coins, and a moment when the mint was fighting shortages and public panic. Owning a pristine 1966 quarter is like holding a piece of that economic drama in your hand. So now I want to know, have you ever checked the edge of your 1966 quarter? Do you have one sitting in a drawer right now? And if you discovered a rare silver error worth thousands or even millions, what would you do first? Comment below and tell me your plan. To wrap this up, the 1966 United States quarter with no mint mark is not rare just because the mark is missing, but it becomes valuable because of condition, rare errors, and historical significance, from simple pocket change to thousands of dollars at auction, and in legendary error cases, even stories of million-dollar heights. This coin proves that small details create big surprises. Coin number 3. We are about to look at a quarter that most people would not even bend down to pick up, the 1987 P quarter. And here is the part that shocks collectors. In the right condition, this ordinary-looking coin has sold for thousands of dollars. And certain rare error stories connected to this era have pushed values into levels that sound almost unreal, even touching the word millions in extreme collectible conversations, all from a coin people treat like loose change. Now before you scroll away thinking this is just another common Washington quarter, let me show you why 1987 is different, why the P mint mark matters more than you think, what makes this year surprisingly tough and high grade, and how a small detail on this coin can turn pocket change into a serious collector target. And trust me, the final price numbers are going to make you see this coin in a completely new way. Grab a 1987 quarter and look closely at the front. You will see George Washington facing left, Liberty above, In God We Trust to the left, and the date 1987 below. Now shift your eyes to the right of Washington's ponytail. You will see a tiny P mint mark. That P stands for Philadelphia, and in 1987 the Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of quarters, which makes it sound common, almost boring. But here is where the story flips. In 1987, the United States Mint made a surprising decision. They did not release uncirculated mint sets for collectors that year, which means if you wanted a nice example, you had to pull it from circulation. And that matters because coins pulled from circulation get scratched, nicked, and worn almost immediately. So finding a 1987 P quarter in pristine mint state condition today is much harder than people expect. Imagine a close-up shot under bright studio lighting. Rotate the coin slowly so the luster flashes across the surface, because that shine is what collectors chase. Now let's talk about condition rarity. Most 1987 P quarters you find will show contact marks on Washington's cheek, small scratches in the fields, and dull surfaces from years of use. But if you find one with sharp hair details, clean fields, strong cartwheel luster, and almost no marks, you may be looking at a high-grade coin that grading companies label mint state 66, 67, or higher. And that is where the value jumps dramatically. Here comes the part most people never check: errors. Look closely at the lettering in Liberty and In God We Trust. Search for doubling that looks strong and separated, not just machine vibration. Check the rim for off-center strikes. Examine the edge for missing clad layers where the copper core shows unusually. Show a magnified macro shot on screen so viewers can see what a genuine error looks like. Because dramatic off-center or major strike errors on a 1987 P quarter can bring serious money when authenticated. There are also coins struck on wrong planchets during the 1980s, extremely rare. Cases where a quarter design was accidentally struck on a different metal blank. These are not common at all, but when discovered and certified, they can command huge auction attention. And while most 1987 P quarters are worth face value, rare error examples from this era have crossed into five-figure territory. And in the broader world of unique, one-of-a-kind mint errors, collectors have paid hundreds of thousands, and in legendary cases, even over $1 million for extraordinary pieces. Which is why experienced collectors never ignore any year. Now let's ground this with real numbers. A worn 1987 P quarter is worth 25 cents. An uncirculated example in average mint state condition might sell for $3 to $10. But certified mint state 67 examples have sold for thousands of dollars at auction, depending on appeal and demand. and rare major error coins can push values far beyond that, making this one of those sleeper years that surprises people. Think about that for a second. A coin made in the late 1980s, still found in change today, can jump from pocket money to thousands simply because of preservation and detail. That is the power of condition rarity, and it turns ordinary searching into a treasure hunt. So let me ask you, have you ever checked your 1987 quarters for the P mint mark? Do you have one sitting in a jar right now? And if you found a flawless high-grade example worth thousands, or even dreamed of discovering a rare error worth millions, what would you do first? Tell me in the comments because I want to hear your story. To wrap this up, the 1987 P United States quarter dollar proves that mintage numbers do not tell the whole story. Condition, errors, and historical quirks like the missing mint sets make this coin far more interesting than it looks, from 25 cents to thousands of dollars. And in extraordinary error legends, even conversations about million-dollar heights, this is a coin that deserves a second look. Coin number 4. We are looking at a quarter that millions of people have spent without a second thought, the 1971 quarter with no mint mark. And here is what might surprise you. Some of these coins have sold for thousands of dollars, and rare error stories connected to this era have pushed values so high that collectors whisper about 6 figures and beyond, all from a coin most people treat like nothing more than bus fare. Now, before you assume every 1971 quarter is special, let me stop you right there, because the missing mint mark is not automatically rare, but what I am about to show you will explain why certain 1971 no mint mark quarters are far more valuable than others, what details to check under a light, which rare errors can change everything, and how condition alone can turn 25 cents into serious money. So stay with me, because the most important detail is something almost nobody checks. Take the coin in your hand and look at the front. You will see George Washington facing left, Liberty above, In God We Trust to the left, and the date 1971 at the bottom. Now look to the right of Washington's ponytail. If there is no mint mark at all, that means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, because in 1971 Philadelphia did not place a mint mark on quarters, so no mint mark for this year is completely normal. And that is exactly why people get confused. Flip the coin over, and you will see the eagle design on the reverse, United States of America around the top, quarter dollar at the bottom, and E pluribus unum above the eagle. Show a slow rotating close-up shot so viewers can see the details in the feathers and the fields. Because sharpness matters, this coin is made of copper nickel clad, not silver, so you will notice a copper stripe along the edge, and that detail alone tells you it is part of the modern clad era. Now here is where it gets interesting. While hundreds of millions of 1971 quarters were produced in Philadelphia, very few survived in pristine condition. Most were heavily circulated through the 1970s and 80s, tossed into cash registers, vending machines, and pockets. So finding one today with strong luster, minimal marks, and crisp details is surprisingly difficult. Imagine a bright studio light hitting the surface and producing that spinning cartwheel shine. That is what collectors look for. Let's talk about errors, because this is where things can get exciting. Look closely at Liberty and In God We Trust. Check for doubled die varieties where the letters appear clearly doubled and separated, not just blurry or worn. Use a magnifying glass and steady lighting. Show a macro zoom on screen so viewers understand the difference between real doubling and simple damage. Genuine doubled dies from this era can command strong premiums. There are also off-center strikes, clip planchets, and rare cases of wrong planchet errors. Imagine finding a 1971 quarter struck on a silver planchet or another denomination blank. These are extremely rare, but when authenticated they can bring huge auction attention. While most are worth face value, dramatic mint errors from the early 1970s have sold for tens of thousands of dollars. And in the wider world of unique mint mistakes, collectors have paid hundreds of thousands, and in legendary situations even crossed into the million-dollar level for extraordinary pieces, which is why experienced collectors check every coin carefully. Now let's ground this in reality. A worn 1971 no mint mark quarter is worth exactly 25 cents. An uncirculated example with decent eye appeal may sell for $5 to $15, but high-grade certified examples in mint state 67 condition have reached several $1,000s at auction, depending on demand and eye appeal, and rare major error coins can push far beyond that. which turns an ordinary year into a serious hunting ground for collectors. Think about that for a moment. A coin made more than 50 years ago, still hiding in change jars and drawers around the world, can jump from pocket change to thousands simply because of condition or a tiny mint mistake. That is the thrill of coin collecting. Small details creating big rewards. So let me ask you, do you own a 1971 quarter with no mint mark? Have you ever checked it under bright light? And if you discovered a rare double die or a dramatic error worth thousands, or even dreamed of finding one connected to million-dollar auction stories, what would you do first? Tell me in the comments because I want to hear your treasure hunting plans. To wrap this up, the 1971 United States quarter dollar with no mint mark is not rare just because the mark is missing, but it becomes valuable through condition, verified errors, and collector demand, from simple face value to thousands at auction. And in extraordinary mint error legends, even conversations about million-dollar heights. This coin proves that everyday change can hold surprising potential. Number 5, and last rare coin. We are about to break a myth about a coin most people ignore, the 1981 P quarter, because while millions were made and most are still worth just 25 cents, a tiny group of these coins in the right condition have sold for thousands of dollars. And rare error examples from this era have reached jaw-dropping auction levels that make collectors talk about six figures and even dream about million-dollar discoveries, all from a coin hiding in plain sight. Now, before you think this is just another common Washington quarter story, stay with me, because I am going to show you why 1981 is more interesting than people realize, what makes the P mint mark important, how condition rarity changes everything, which errors you should hunt for immediately, and why one small detail on this coin can mean the difference between pocket change and serious collector money. Take a close look at the front of the 1981 quarter. You will see George Washington facing left, Liberty above his head, In God We Trust to the left, and the date 1981 at the bottom. Now look carefully to the right of Washington's ponytail. You will see a small P mint mark. That P stands for Philadelphia, and in 1981 the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters. So at first glance it sounds common, almost boring. But this is where the real story begins. Flip the coin over and you will see the classic eagle reverse, United States of America across the top, E pluribus unum, above the eagle, and quarter dollar at the bottom. Show a slow rotating close-up so viewers can see the feather details in the fields, because sharpness and surface quality are everything when it comes to value, especially for modern clad coins like this one. Here is the key detail most people miss. The early 1980s were tough on coins, heavy circulation, bags of coins tossed around, machines scraping surfaces. So finding a 1981 P quarter in truly high mint state condition is much harder than the mintage numbers suggest. Look closely at Washington's cheek and jawline. That is where contact marks usually appear. If you find one with smooth, clean surfaces, strong cartwheel luster spinning under light, and crisp hair details, you may have a condition rarity that collectors actively search for. Now let's talk about grading, because this is where the numbers get interesting. Most 1981 P quarters in circulation are worth face value, but uncirculated examples in mint state 65 or 66 can bring modest premiums. And when you reach mint state 67 or higher, auction prices have climbed into the thousands of dollars, simply because so few survive in that pristine condition. Imagine a side-by-side B-roll shot comparing a worn coin and a flawless high-grade example. The difference is dramatic. And then there are the errors. Always check the lettering in Liberty and In God We Trust for strong double die characteristics. Look for off-center strikes where part of the design is missing but the date is still visible. Inspect the edge for missing clad layers where the copper core shows unusually. And in extremely rare cases, wrong planchet errors can occur. These dramatic mint mistakes from the 1980s have sold for tens of thousands of dollars when authenticated. And in the broader world of unique, one-of-a-kind mint errors, collectors have paid hundreds of thousands, and in legendary cases even crossed the million-dollar mark, which is why no serious collector ignores modern coins. Think about the psychology here. Everyone assumes older means more valuable, but sometimes modern coins in top condition are actually harder to find than older silver coins that were saved carefully. That twist alone makes the 1981 P quarter a fascinating sleeper coin. Now let's be realistic with the numbers. A circulated 1981p quarter is worth 25 cents. A nice uncirculated example may sell for $3 to $10, certified high grade. Examples in mint state 67 have sold for several $1,000s depending on eye appeal and demand, and major authenticated error coins can push values far beyond that, which turns an ordinary year into a serious opportunity for collectors who pay attention. So I want to ask you, have you ever checked your 1981 quarters closely? Do you have a jar of coins sitting at home right now? And if you discovered a flawless high-grade example worth thousands, or even dreamed of finding a rare error tied to million-dollar auction stories, what would you do first? Drop your answer in the comments because I want to know who is actually checking their change. To wrap this up, the 1981p United States quarter dollar proves that value is not just about age. It is about condition, rarity within grade, and rare mint mistakes, from simple pocket change to thousands at auction. And in extraordinary error legends, even whispers of million-dollar heights. This coin reminds us that treasure can hide in the most ordinary places. If this opened your eyes to the hidden potential in everyday coins, like this video, subscribe for more deep dives into overlooked treasures, and watch the next episode where we uncover another coin that might be worth far more than you ever imagined. Because the next big discovery could already be in your pocket right now.